Ayan, so we are now on week 4, entitled Mathematical Relations and Functions. So we have 2 objectives for today. First, understand the mathematical language of relations and functions and identify the relation as a function by applying the properties. So relation. So actually, we have encountered this relation and functions way back high school. So this is just a review to us, okay? So we are to revisit our knowledge or previous knowledge about functions and relations. So relation, when two sets form a collection of ordered pairs of x, y, each of which coming from each set, then is said that x is or has the relation with y. Okay? Or x, itong x, r, y, binary relation are from set x to y. Okay, so there is a relationship between our x and y. Okay, paano ba yan? Okay. So a relation in mathematics defines the relationship between two different sets of information. If two sets are considered, the relation between them will be established if there is a connection between the elements of two or more non-empty sets. Okay, so example ng relation. So in the morning assembly at school, students are supposed to stand in a queue in ascending order of the heights of all the students. This defines an ordered relation between the students and their height since we are using these two variables. Ayan, so okay, my relationship dito sa between the students, ayan, sa students and then their heights. Ayan, kasi yan yung kinuha for them to form a line or a queue during the morning assembly at schools. Okay, so we have two variables itong sa mga students, ayan, and then they have their height as our y. Therefore, we can say a set of ordered pairs is defined as a relation. So we have discussed the ordered pair last week. Ayan. Okay, I'll clear my drawings. Ayan. So example number 2. So kanina, we have the students and their heights. And then now, let's have this example. So this mapping depicts a relation from set A into set B. Since we have these connections, okay, from the elements in set A to the elements of set B. A relation from A to B is a subset of A cross B. So the ordered pairs are, so the ordered pairs that we can have here is we have 1C. So tignan lang yung mga connections. 1C, 2N, 5A, and then 7N. And then for defining a relation, we use the notation where set 1, 2, 5, 7 represents the domain set. So ito siya. This is our domain. Okay, ito yung domain natin. Lahat ng elements na nasa kay A, domain yan sila. And then we have here our range. Pero yung range natin, ito lang, A, C, at saka CN. Yung may mga connections lang. Hindi kasali si M. Okay? So, ang domain, values na siya ni X. Kumbaga ko sa ordered pair. And then, yung mga, ito namang si range is the values of Y. Okay. So, ito yung domain natin, 1, 2, 5, 7. And then, yung range natin, ACN. Okay. So here we also have some types of relation. So this is a relation in table, a relation in graph, ayan, and then a relation in mapping diagram. So yun yung nakita natin kanina. So we can have or we can also represent relation by tables and then by graph. Okay, so stop chatting muna. And then we have types of relations. We have empty relations, universal relations, identity relations, inverse relations, reflexive relations, symmetric relations, and transitive relations. So this will be a broad topic. So we will just list them and then depende na lang kung ma-encounter niyo siya sa iba pang math. But here, since we are in math in the modern world, so we will just identify the types of relations. Ayan. Okay, next we have the relationship between sets and relations. So set and relation are interconnected with each other. The relation defines the relation. between two given sets. Okay, so itong relation na tinatawag natin defines yung relationship between two given sets. If there are two sets available, then to check if there is any connection between the two sets, we use the relations. For example, an empty relation denotes none of the elements in the two sets is same. Ayan, so kumbaga, di ba isa sa mga types ng relation is the empty relation. Ayan. Okay, so if we say empty relation, this denotes none of the elements in the two sets is same. So, kumbaga, walang kapareho talaga yung elements ni nasa A ba or nasa X, and then sa elements ni Y or sa set B. Ayan. Okay, stop chatting muna. Bakit ang titigas ng ulo? Yes. Okay, stop chatting. Focus on what's on the screen. And then relations in mathematics. So in maths, the relation is the relationship between two or more set of values. Suppose X and Y are two sets of ordered pairs. And set X has relation with set Y. Then the values of set X are called domain, whereas the values of set Y are called range. Okay, ito na yung na-discuss natin kanina. So kung ano yung mga values ni X, yun yung domain. Kung ano yung mga values ni Y, yun yung mga range natin. So for example, we have for ordered pairs, 1, 2, negative 3, 4, 5, 6, negative 7, 8, 9, 2. Our domains are here, yung mga values ni X. So we have here, you can just write directly, or ito kasi naka-in order talaga siya, negative 7, negative 3. You can just write 1, negative 3, 5, negative 7, and 9. That's for the domain. Or you can arrange it like this, from negative to positive. And then the range we have 2, 4, 6, 8. So hindi nakasali itong si 2 kasi na-mention na siya dito. Okay, so 2, 4, 6, 8. So kumbaga dapat yung mga malis mo dito is unique. Okay, hindi pwede nga maglagay ka pa ng 2 dyan. Okay, hindi na siya pwede. Okay, kasi na-mention na siya dito. Okay. Ayan. Okay, others are still coming in. Yes. Okay. Next, we have the functions. So when two quantities, X and Y are related so that for some range of values of X, the value of Y is determined by that of X, then we say that Y is a function of X. So kumbaga, madidetermine natin yung value ni Y because of the sum values of X, then that is a function. Ayan, so a function relates an input to an output. So meron na tayong tinatawag dito na input at saka output. It is like a machine that has an input and an output, and the output is related somehow to the input. Okay, so here we have types of functions. So functions can be classified in terms of relations as follows. So again, magkakaroon tayo ng function if there is a relation. So alam na natin yung relation kanina. So it's all about the relationship between the X and Y values. And then ito naman yung kay function. Okay? So first type of function, we have the injective or one-to-one function. Okay? So injective or the one-to-one function ito. Okay. So the injective function F, that is P, yan, implies Q. This means that for each element of P, there is a distinct element of Q. So if we say distinct, that is unique. Okay, kakaiba dapat yung mga values na nandito kay Q. Okay, and then many to one. So itong many to one, the many to one function maps two or more elements of P to the same element of Q. Okay, so kumbaga, ang many to one, since nauna yung many dito, so kumbaga, so yung mga elements ni P, and then, kumbaga, maraming elements kay P na connect dito sa isang element ni Q. Okay, kaya same element of Q. And then the surjective or onto function. So itong surjective or onto function, this is a function for which every element of set Q there is pre-image in set P. So itong surjective or onto function, na make sure talaga na lahat ng elements ni P, ayan, lahat ng elements ni P ay may pre-image dito kay Q. Ayan, sa set na Q, ayan. Okay, and then you have the bijective function. So again, this is just a review. Okay, so tignan natin mamaya. Okay, here. So as you can see here, dito sa drawing na to or sa picture na to, bigger ang relations kaysa sa kay function. So kumbaga, we can say na itong from the definitions kanina, 'di ba, hindi magkakaroon ng function kung walang relation. So kumbaga, mas malawak yung area ni relation, and then under relation you have there the functions kasi we cannot have the function without the relation. Okay, yun nga lang here. Itong si function is written as like this, f of x. So this is the classic way of writing a function, and there are other ways as you will see. Okay? So here, ito ang pinaka-importante dito. Ayan. Here. Okay? So all functions are relations, but not all relations are functions. Kasi nga, 'di ba? Lahat ng functions are relations kasi nga yung mga functions are under relations. Pero hindi lahat ng relations ay functions. Kasi if we go back sa drawing natin kanina or sa picture kanina, ayan. So hindi lahat ng functions ay relations. Or ay hindi lahat ng relations ay functions kasi may mga naka-space na sa spaces dyan. Pero lahat ng functions ay relations since lahat ng functions natin ay under relations. Pero hindi lahat ng relations are functions. Okay, so how can we identify a function and a relation? Okay, so here, this is a relation which is not a function. Okay, so bakit kaya? So as what you can see on the table, we can see duplication in x values with different y values. Then this relation is not a function because of this -5. Okay, kasi si -5 dito, kumbaga, nag-ano siya, kung sa magjowa pa yan, nag 2 times si -5. Okay, so we have 9, nag-connect siya kay 9 at saka kay 3. So this is not a function, but this is just a relation. Okay, relation lang ito siya. Ito naman, this is a function since every value of x is different and is associated with only one value of y. This relation is a function. So as what you can see here, walang duplication kay x. And then lahat din naman ng values ni y are unique. Okay, so this is now a function. This is just a relation. Okay, so again, this is a relation because of -5. Ayan, dalawang -5 and then they are connected to different values of y. Kaya relation lang ito. This one is a function since unique lahat ng values ni x. Ayan. Okay, so we will see many ways to think about functions, but there are always three main parts. So we have the input, the relationship, and then the output. So yun kanina yung nakita natin na hindi siya function because of the input natin na -5. Kumbaga nag 2 times si -5. Nag-connect siya kay 9 at saka kay 3. Ayan. So this is an example of a function. So multiply by 2 is a very simple function. Okay, so 0 times 2, that's 0. 1 times 2, 2. 7 times 2, 14. 10 times 2, that's 20. Okay, this is now our input and then our output. So as what you can see, walang nag-repeat dito sa input natin and then wala din dito sa outputs natin kasi they are connected. Yung input natin are connected uniquely sa ating output. Okay, so ito yung relationship nila na multiply sila by 2. Okay, so for an input of 50, what is the output? So the output is 100. So 50 times 2, that is 100. Okay, so we have the common functions in algebra. So we have the linear function, we have the inverse functions, the constant function, the identity function, and the absolute value functions. Okay, so I know you're familiar with this. Ayan, so that's in algebra. Okay, some examples of functions, you have x squared. So you are squaring a function. And then x cubed plus 1, this is also a function, as well as the sine, cosine, and tangent. That's why they are called as trigonometric functions. All right. So two functions are said to be equal if and only if they have the same set of ordered pairs. Same with na-discuss natin last time. So if ever yung given sa first set is 1, 3, for us to say na equal sila, that should be yung sa second, dapat 1, 3 din. Ayan. So now, how to determine if a relation is a function? So we can check if a relation is a function either by graphically or by following the steps below. So first, examine the x or input values. And then examine also the y or output values. If all the input values are different, then the relation becomes a function. And if the values are repeated, the relation is not a function. Ayan, so yun yung nangyari kanina sa -5. Or when each input value of a function generates one and only output, it is called a function. So here, the input values are known as domain and output values are known as the range. So yun lang talaga ang titignan natin, si input. So dapat kasi itong si input, dapat unique. Okay? Note, if there is a repetition of the first members with an association or with an associated repetition of the second members, then the relation becomes a function. Okay. Alright, so here, pero for example, kung ganito yung nangyari kanina, kung sa list natin kanina, for example, here. So kung -5, okay, -5, and then na-connect siya kay 3, and then sa baba na nakita naman tayo na -5, and then na-connect pa rin siya kay -3. Okay, this is still a function. Kasi same lang naman sila -5 at saka 3. Here, -5 at saka 3. So okay lang ganyan. So ito yung sinasabi kanina dito sa note. If there is a repetition of the first members with an associated repetition of the second member, then the relation becomes a function. Ayan. So kumbaga twice natin nakita itong pair na -5 and 3. So that is still a function. Kasi si -5 kay 3 lang talaga siya nakakonect. Alright. Okay. Ayan. And then here, determine whether the following ordered pairs of numbers is a function. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so upon checking on the first elements, wala namang repetition. Then the given set of ordered pair of numbers is a function. Yan, so function siya kasi walang nag-ulit na x values. And then here is a 1, 5, 1, 5, 3, -8, 3, -8, 3, -8 a function. So definitely this is a function. So ito na yung nasabi ko kanina na here, since though naulit sila, though naulit yung mga x values natin, but they are connected with the same element. So okay lang. Ito, tatlong ulit natin nakita si 3. Pero same element lang din naman yung sa tatlo. Then this is a function. So function yan. Okay. Alright. Okay. Alright, so here, that ends the discussion in module 4.